I'm Chase Jarvis. I'm a photographer coming to you live from my studio in Seattle. We have a very special guest today, Jasmine Star, a phenom wedding photographer that you guys know and love. She is over there getting mic'd up. She's just come literally straight from the airport, swooped in here in a cab, and we're micing her up right now, and I will have her right here in just a few minutes, if not shorter. In the meantime, I wanted to give what I think to be the state of the art. I just got back from Paris hours ago, actually, and went over there for some inspiration. Went over there for a little teeny weeny bit of work, but mostly for pleasure. I was happy and lucky enough to have a wedding anniversary with my beautiful wife, Kate, who's back there somewhere. And we lived there for several years. We still have a business address over there, and when I'm there, I feel like I'm really, I'm surrounded by a bunch of really good creative stuff. And so what I want to do is share a couple things that I tripped on while I was over there. Some magazines. Foam magazine, very cool. If you get a chance to pick it up, this is the 2010 summer issue. View photography magazines. Again, you may have to work kind of hard to find these, and that's one of the reasons I'm sharing them with you here, because it's probably not stuff you can go down to your normal newsstand and pick up. Really great stuff there. Again, these are just things that inspired me. Response, I probably blew that, but this is a great black and white photography magazine. And As Art photography, a lot of these are French, but if you're looking at the pictures, like me, then you don't really need to know the French, although I can muddle my way through it. But so those are a couple of pieces of inspiration. I also was definitely inspired by food, which I'll give you a little preview about what's coming up. I think we're going to try and do another Chase Jarvis Live next week. And if you haven't noticed, like we got wedding this week. Next week, I'm going to have some food photographers on. And I'm trying to basically cover some areas of photography that I don't know much about. And so I'm trying to learn, and maybe you folks out there either know a lot about it and that's why you're interested, or should watch and learn something. But we did a lot of food when we were in Paris, and that's very inspiring as well. It goes straight to my hips. I have more croissant and crepe than I could shake a stick at. Other inspirations for the state of the art, two videos that I just stumbled across. One was sent to me by my good friend Will Hyde, who's the creative director and founder of Superfad. I've collaborated with those guys in the past before. They're a production and motion house here in Seattle, New York, LA, help me Scott, London, in London. And maybe Dee, can you put that URL up there? This is like a 4-minute video. It's mostly safe for work. There's a couple of places that are a little risque, but they are very tastefully done. And overall, just a cool little mood piece that Will sent me that I thought I would share with you guys. Don't go there now because it's 5 minutes and then you're not going to be watching this and it's going to screw everything up. But bookmark that for later. I think D'Artagnan's going to put that little lower third probably right down here or down here. And then the other one, well, what can I say about that? I got a tweet from someone I don't remember right now. I wish I did. I would give you a shout out about a high school radio station that's been up for 22 years, and their funding's been cut, and the DJ, I guess his name is the Walrus, go figure, he was going to play for 10 days straight. He's going to spin in an attempt to raise some money and get that radio station back on the air. So I sent out a couple tweets yesterday. If you pay attention to my feed, then you will have got those already, but if you don't and haven't, take, I don't know, 2 minutes and go check that out after the broadcast today. I've yapped enough. Without further ado, I want to remind you, you can write into us. Here are our fancy little iPads. We're taking questions the whole time. I'm going to try and go to the phones, if you will, more regularly than I have in the past. Hashtag CJ Live for questions for Jasmine or yours truly, and start those now so that when we take a peek, they're there. In the meantime, join me in welcoming. Yay! Hi there. Can we hug online?
Yeah, is my mic online? Is my mic live? Are we good?
I think we're good. Hi there.
Hi.
This is actually the first time we've ever met in person. That's a little bit of a lie. 2 minutes ago.
Yes.
5 minutes ago.
A bit ago, yeah, 5 minutes.
Was the first time we've ever met.
Ooh,
but
my heart's pounding. I'm a little nervous, I have to say.
Oh, there's some champagne there. Can you
A little bubbly, yeah.
slow down a little bit. But I have been paying attention to what you've been doing because you've been making waves all over the place. And as I kind of reached out to you however many months ago, and said, you know, congratulations, I love what you're doing. I also confessed at that time that I know very little about wedding photography. And to be honest, I'm way more terrified of the mother of the bride than I would be of a team of art directors and creative directors from Tokyo or London, New York. So that one of the things that I want to talk about today is help educate me. I want to understand a lot about your philosophy and everything. And then I also want to make sure to plug the fact that you are going to be doing a Creative Live.
Yeah.
Are we calling it a seminar? I don't even want to know.
It's a course.
It's a course.
Yes,
it's a course.
It's a 5-day course.
Of course, it's a course. A 5-day course that we have been, about 4 weeks ago we decided to do this. Actually, we knew we were going to do it a little bit before then, and then 4 weeks ago we actually pulled the trigger and started planning a wedding.
Planning a wedding in 4 weeks.
It's like, totally
it's
insane.
Crazy.
And it's
crazy.
It's 150 wedding for 150.
Yes.
And it's going to be a cool wedding. It's not over the top, but it's a very, very nice wedding, and you're going to be shooting it live.
Yes, on Friday.
On Friday, okay.
Yes.
And there's some days of prep and some days of post.
Yes.
And we'll get more into detail with that later, but I wanted to plug that at the beginning of the show. Well, let's get down to it. So, shall we settle in a little bit? Oh, that's a terrible noise. I'm sure you folks on the internet just covered your ears. Okay, so your career has been moving very quickly.
Yes, in a short amount of time.
In a short amount of time. And I like that. I think that's cool. I think generally speaking, one of my messages to the photography world is to like that and to embrace it, rather than historically photographers have been kind of really stubborn about their territory, and right. I'm trying to maybe shift it around a little bit so we can celebrate some of the people who are coming up really fast, learn from them and what they are doing. My personal view of my own trajectory was a 10-year overnight success, so I think people thought it was overnight, but I've been working hard for a long time. I think it's similar in your case, but I'm putting words in your mouth now. So give me your version. Give me what were you doing 5 years ago, and what are you doing now, and how is it? What's the trajectory?
5 years ago, I was in law school. About a little over 5 years ago, I was in law school.
How can you be in law school when you're 18?
Okay,
all right.
You'd be a great wedding photographer with lines like that, feeding to the mom.
Oh,
You're in. You're in.
All right, new career starting tomorrow.
No, because I'm territorial.
Okay.
If you start shooting wedding photography, I might muscle you out. I'm just saying.
I'm willing to be muscled.
I started about 5 years ago. I was in law school.
Okay.
Well, actually, I was planning a wedding 5 years ago. 5.5 years ago, I was in law school. I had a full ride to UCLA Law School.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, no.
Oh seriously?
Yes.
Wow, amazing.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I wasn't really happy there, but I had worked very hard to get there, and I just thought that was just what I was supposed to do and be. And how many happy lawyers do you know? So I just thought, unhappy lawyers start an unhappy law school. So I just figured this is just the course and the trajectory in which I had to go through. And then my first year, my mother had a relapse with brain cancer. She was diagnosed when I was 20, when I was in law school, when I was in college. And she had a relapse with it. And at this point, doctors were just like, I think it's just going to be at the quality of her life. So the news hit me really, really, really hard.
Understandably,
and,
my gosh, it's awful.
I thought we would have to make plans to say goodbye. And I moved back home. I literally walked into law school intending to go to school that day, and then just realizing how short life is. I was 25 at the time, and my mom was 50. And I feel like in the hallway of UCLA Law School, I had a midlife crisis. Or a quarter life crisis. Right. Or if my mom was 50 and I was 25,
no, that's fair.
I realized, oh my God, if I have 25 years left in my life, I don't want to be a lawyer, and I don't want to be this unhappy. So I walked out, and I thought I would go back. I had full intentions of going back. I just needed a break. And so I moved back home, and 3 months of being at home with my mom, my boyfriend of 8.5 years proposed.
He's actually in the house.
What?
He's in the house right now.
Oh yes, he is. He is.
I'm looking at him right now.
He's eating chocolate.
He has no
See
idea.
how skinny he is, and he eats chocolate as a pastime.
It's killing me.
He proposed after 8.5 years of dating, and we planned a wedding, and it was through that
8.5 years?
8.5 years.
the man is a slow mover. I respect that. I'm a 5 year.
It was actually me. I will
tons of respect. I can't know together for years and years before, so.
Okay, good. So I had to make sure.
Of course.
You know, I was kind of on the fence. No, I'm just kidding. We started dating when we were really young, when we were like 17. So we had to grow into things and live our lives a little bit.
Sure.
But it was the wedding planning process that actually opened my eyes to the lifestyle that wedding photographers have, and the ability for them to create a life around what they do, and they're able to travel, and they're able to do a lot of things and get paid for what they're doing. And
get paid well.
Get paid well.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And we found a wedding photographer. He's based in Santa Barbara, California. Okay. And we flew him. His name is David J. We flew him to Hawaii, where we got married.
David J. goes to Hawaii.
Yes. And it was there when I realized, you know, he was following our families. We went to a luau, and he was at the luau.
What do you mean following your families?
Like, well, whatever events we did when we were planning our wedding, he was there too. So we took everybody to a luau. So he went to the luau and shot pictures of us there.
Oh, that's, I get it.
And
okay.
like things of that
Not
nature.
stalker-ish, but he was.
Yeah, no. I mean, I'm very interesting. And you might stalk me after this conversation, but he wasn't like
Got
that.
it, okay. So he's like, I'm understanding this is part of you're watching him and you're getting like,
yes.
Like I'm picking up on what this guy's doing.
Definitely.
This cat's got it dialed in.
Yeah, oh definitely. And I envied what he was doing. I envied the fact that he was happy and he was successful, and I was unhappy with no trajectory in life. And finally, after a little bit, that night actually at our wedding, he showed us a sneak peek of our wedding photos. He had them up on a laptop, and there was about 25 of us in this room off the Pacific coast, and there he was with his laptop computer, and he showed us same-day slideshow of the wedding photos.
You wept.
Not just me. Everybody wept. Every grown man in the room wept. And then it was then when I realized that he had the ability to document a miracle. Like, my mom wasn't supposed to be there, and she walked me down the aisle, and I just felt like it was such a moving experience, and everybody was so happy. And I started thinking I really want to do what he does. And so 2.5 months of being married, I get a letter from UCLA, and they're saying, okay, you have to now declare that you're coming back for the spring semester to finish off the spring semester where you originally left off. And there I was crying. I was a hot mess, and I just didn't want to go back, and I didn't know how. I was lost. I didn't know what I was doing with life. Again, I was still kind of going through that quarter-life crisis or midlife crisis, depending on
how long you live.
Yeah, exactly. And then JD said something that will have forever, like, it was tattooed in my brain. And he said, I would rather see you fail at something you love than succeed at something you hate. And with that, he said, just try it a year. I had 5 years to go back. Oh my gosh, I could probably still squeak back into law school and get my scholarships. I won't, never. Could you imagine? Like, I'm so happy. I'm in Seattle. I'm with Chase. Like, I would never go back to like my legal briefs or anything like that. And you're drinking champagne. It's 5 o'clock somewhere. You know, like, I love it. Sure. No, I would never go back.
Okay.
So we decided to give it a year. We decided to see what would happen in a year, and if it didn't work, well, it didn't work, and I would go back to law school. Law school is like a pretty nice fallback plan.
Agreed.
And so that was in November, and in December of 2005, JD bought me a Canon 20D, and it was a really simple camera. I picked up a digital camera for the first time in like January of 2007. I opened it right after New Year, and I had never touched it before. I didn't even know how everything worked. But I was able to shoot my first wedding in October of 2006, and I shot 2 more weddings that month. So for a total of 3 weddings in 2006. And then in 2007, we shot close to 40 weddings. So It was pretty incredible. Yeah, it was awesome. And it went all just from word of mouth.
Well, I want to comment just for a second, because for the folks at home, it sounds like, I feel like your story sounds so out there to so many people. But the reality, and my personal experience matches yours in many ways, is that there is no prescription for how you get to become a photographer or a director, a filmmaker. That is standard. I feel like we all come from a strange background and an amazing variety of walks of life to end up sitting next to each other or sitting on the sideline of a sports game or shooting over someone's shoulder at a wedding or whatever. My story is very similar in that, except for me, instead of law school, it was medical school. It's miserable. Like, what in the hell am I doing? I'm not doing this. I don't want to do this. I feel like I'm trying to speak Chinese when I only know English right now.
God, I said the same thing.
Yeah, and there were people in my class, or my peers, if you will, that were just clearly different than I was, and I was doing it out of a societal pressure to do something that was right.
Right.
Like just to have a fallback plan, or to make your plan be something that's respected. And it was weird that, you know, even as my late teens and even young 20s, to still be reasonably confused about who's in charge of your life. And that's one of the reasons I love your story, is because it's individual to you, but it also, I feel like it reaches out to so many people who are in jobs that they're not happy with right now, or who are in lives that they're not happy with. And it's true that this course, this path that we have chosen, I believe is a very difficult one. It's very comparable to playing at professional sports, for example, but it's also strangely very accessible with the way technology has happened, with the way, like right now, I mean, yeah, there's some equipment here, but we're broadcasting live online, and I don't know how many thousands of people are watching, but basically from my studio, and with very little to no experience. And the same thing can be said about using a camera, and the same thing can be said about the way you use technology as a photographer, and all those things can distinguish you from the other folks that are out there. So
definitely.
It's an amazing time to be a photographer, and one of the things that I want to debunk, and especially in the wedding industry, I've learned this through talking with you, that I'm not here to talk trash, but I'm here to say, like, let's quit the bickering, and we're all in this together sort of mentality. And I've been kind of piping that message for 5 to 10 years, at least 10 years now, on the commercial side of things. And I think my understanding, having talking to you and a lot of other folks that are in more of the wedding side of things, is that that needs a little bit of a shake-up too, a little like, okay, gut check here, we're on this together, and that there's plenty of room for everyone to thrive and survive. So
definitely.
Your story is an amazing one.
And I think more than anything, I don't want anybody who's watching to think that they're tuning in to see somebody who has it together, because if they're tuning in to watch somebody who has it together, then they're tuning into the wrong thing. I mean, I'm the first to say that I don't have it together. I'm learning on the fly as much as anybody else is, except I'm totally willing to, as much as I shy away from it, I'm okay and open with sharing how many mistakes I make along the way. And I think that sometimes in the industry we want to hide behind accolades and perfection and Photoshop and all the cool things that we could do, but in reality I'm just as like boring and awful and like functified as anybody else, but here we are, functified. I have a little flavor. Yeah, no, but that's what the main thing is about the course. The course is just to talk about my experience, where I got to how I was, and more than anything. But
I love it because that's real.
I know.
Real life.
And like the thing is, if people can watch it, like I don't want, my main goal for people when they watch it, for them, if they could leave and think, wow, if that girl can do it, I can so do it, then that's awesome. That's great. Like 100%.
Very, very similar to the kind of the mission that I had with the iPhone book. It's like, hey, there are pictures in there that I want you to go, oh my God, how did you get that with an iPhone? But the next picture, I want you to be able to say, I could totally take that. And
definitely.
And in the same way, this is the only career I've ever had, and I still feel every day I'm pinching myself, and I'm one step ahead of the cliff that's right behind me, and that it's a learning process. And I feel like you have achieved a substantial amount of success in a very short time. Like, what is it? Top American photos, top wedding photographers, top 10 wedding photographers. That's a hell of an accolade. But that you still wake up in the morning afraid that you didn't copy your card over right, or that, that the client's not going to be happy, and that every day. And it's the same thing here. I mean, we have arguably an amazing thing going, and I feel really confident in what we do, but not all the time.
Right.
A lot of times I'm waking up in the middle of the night and go, oh my God, I can't believe that shot is going to be the ad.
Right.
That was a total mistake.
I know.
And as much as we try and play it off, that's the real world. So I'm really happy and grateful that you're willing to go on to Creative Live, especially for 5 days.
I know. You guys are like gonna suck me dry.
and be that person, because that's what it is. And I don't think that people can get that experience. My hope is that people will need to tune into Creative Live to get that experience, and that's something you can't get anywhere else, and with someone of your caliber. So,
No, thank you.
all right, I'm going to rewind and change directions a little bit.
Okay.
There's technical know-how, and then there's everything else. Talk to me about those two. I mean, you could subdivide all these categories. I'm trying
you're
to
just gonna bring out the big guns, like really early, straight out.
What else is there?
This is just gonna create some madness on the web. I'm just gonna say.
What else is there? Like that's. Like I feel like there is a base level of technical knowledge that you need to possess, but that a professional steps up with, regardless what they're using, what club they're using, or whatever. I've used this golf analogy before, and hit it down the middle of the fairway, and that's really what defines a pro. I recently had a blog post about inspiration, and is inspiration killing creativity? And someone wrote, I wish I remembered his name. It's like, inspiration is one thing, but kind of professionalism, like all the inspiration's nice, but if you can walk up and hit it down the middle every day and get paid for it and do it over and over and over, that's a unique thing. So
Truth.
Technical knowledge, that has a part of it. You have to be able to take a nice picture.
Yeah.
But there's this other thing. So talk to me about those two things.
Okay, as a side note, I feel like I'm in church. Like you're like a preacher and you're just like delivering it. Like I might just be like, amen.
No one has ever said that to me in my life. Hallelujah.
I'm in total agreement.
Okay.
As far as like technical aspects of photography, I agree. Like, I don't think that I could be able to shoot the weddings that I shoot, or quite frankly get paid what I get paid to do what I do if I didn't have an element of professionalism. I totally get that. But to a large degree, when I first started, I had already mentioned before, I had never picked up a digital camera pre-2007. So
Amazing.
there's a ton of work I had to do to learn things technically. But I will be the first to say, I don't even know all the inner workings of how, it sounds like I'm gonna cry. I'm not. I'm like choked up. You know, cameras, they get me all teary. No, I'll be the first to say I don't know everything, and I'm actually quite petrified that I'm going to be live shooting the wedding and someone's going to like tweet a question. Yeah, exactly. They're like, why is she at that ISO? She's doing it wrong. Listen, I am probably doing it not right, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's wrong. So in law school, so let me break it down for you real quick.
I'm ready to be
broken. In law school, like
break it.
The number one thing that they teach you is the opposite of cold isn't hot. It's just not cold. And the opposite of right isn't wrong, it's just not right. So while I might not be doing it right in traditional forms and standards, I'm definitely not doing it wrong. And so I think that if we could disassemble the way that we think and the way that we approach photography, it's going to change things in the industry, especially with this new flux of newbies coming in. It's like, are we going to rear our heads at them and sneer and say, no? It's like, hey, we're all trying to figure it out together. Let's, a rising tide raises ships. Like, what can we do together to make sure everybody's doing what they need to do? So that's my philosophy on technicality. Yes, I probably
spoken like a true former law student turned wedding photographer. No, I love it. Seriously, I use that rising tide floats all boats. What is that? It's not an analogy. It's a story.
It's an adage.
Aphorism? An adage?
Yes, an adage.
Lovely. Okay, so I respect, appreciate, and value that very much. What about the other bucket?
The other bucket is
everything else, right?
Yes, it's 80%. I feel like shooting and technicality is 20% of what I do, but 80% of what I do is nothing to do with that. 80% is me. It's differentiating myself in a sea of talented wedding photographers. I'm from Southern California, but my market is worldwide. Anywhere anyone is willing to find me for a wedding is where I'm going. So how do I differentiate myself on the web? How many wedding photographers out there? Literally thousands.
Oh my
thousands and thousands.
That's probably the understatement of the day. There's probably tens of thousands.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I happen to live in Southern California, which is an extraordinarily saturated market as it is. So it goes back to, how do I make myself different? Especially in the beginning, when I had no technical ability, when I didn't know which way was up, when I had just had my camera. How can I stand out against everybody who had studios, who had the nice cars, who had every camera and then one from their mama? What?
You need a nice car?
Yes.
Wow.
Clients look at what you're driving up in. It's like they want to look like...
That is very Orange County. I went to school in San Diego.
Don't talk trash about Orange County. Okay, seriously.
Respect.
We might be by the beach, but every cat has its claws.
Got it.
Okay.
Check.
Okay.
Don't go there.
That's right. But yeah, so 80% of what I do is not photography. It's dealing with clients, making sure they're happy, and going on and just having their experience, branding their interaction with me, and branding who I am on the web to make sure that they both coincide and those little worlds are happy together.
I'm going to say a word, you say a word.
Okay. I'm terrible at this game.
I don't know if it's a game or not. I've never played it with anyone my own age, but
okay.
Marketing.
Jasmine Star.
Is that going to be your answer for everything?
I'm going to see if we can do it. I'm just kidding.
Wedding.
Jasmine Star. Okay, I'm being serious now. I'll be for real.
Okay. Lens choice.
Personal.
Groom.
Reluctant but malleable. Can I make
Yeah, we're cool with that.
Okay.
We're cool with that. Reluctant but malleable. We'll put that on pause.
Okay, you're making me nervous.
We'll go back to the questions.
I'm like sweaty, Mom.
You can't go back.
I'm going to fail all this test.
All right, I would love to take maybe 2-3 minutes and see if we can talk to some people out there in the universe. Questions are coming in at #CJLive or at Chase Jarvis or at Jasmine Star. We've got all of them. If you'd like your own, you can if you want to pick some, but if you don't want your own, that's okay.
I'll just pretend. I'll use that little iPad finger that everybody uses. Like, oh, look at me. I'm so...
Questions. All right. You go, girl. That's from Kimberly.
That's right.
But questions, camera stuff. People are gear heads. I'm not going to shame you, but they do want to know about your equipment, I guess. Why don't you tell them about your camera stuff?
Okay, I'm going to go into depth about specifically why I use what I use during the course, and actually specifically I'll be going through it tomorrow, roughly around 2:30ish.
Got it. Okay,
that's what I have planned.
This is I'm going to plug the creative. Maybe we can throw up our Creative Live schedule, D'Artagnan. So Creative Live, in case you guys have forgotten or it's your first time, I started this with a good friend of mine, Craig, and what it is worldwide free creative education, everything from photography to design, Photoshop, even iPhone and Android programming, CSS, all kinds of, basically, if it's creative and it's on the web, drawing, painting, with the idea that we bring in some of the best instructors in the world at their particular topics. We put them in front of a camera and we give them the stage. Folks like Vincent LaFerre. Vince, I hope you're taking a peek today. Zach Arias. Z, I hope you're out there. Last month we had David Dushman. We've had Scott Porn. A lot of really well-known photography buffs. And give them a stage and let them teach what they do better than anybody else in the world. And if you want to watch it anytime it's live, you can watch it for free. If you want to take it away and put it on your iPad, your iPod, your whatever, you can just pay to download it, and our goal is to make the downloads. We of course want you to download it so that it offsets the cost for putting all this stuff on, and so far it's working in some sort of equilibrium. We're happy, and that's what you're doing tomorrow.
Yes.
And the schedule is it on the screen right now? Maybe, yes, perhaps. Working on it. So you're going to talk in detail about your gear tomorrow,
but just as like a really brief overview.
For Laner here, who's shouting out on Twitter, just give me the short version.
The short version is, I will tell you what I absolutely positively cannot live without. These are the lenses I keep with me all day. I shoot with a 5D Mark II, and
never heard of it either.
Yeah, no, it's pretty amazing. Like, you hold it and your life will be changed.
Yeah, no, they make great stuff. Seriously, beautiful camera.
I shoot with the 50mm 1.2, the 24mm 1.4, and the 85 1.2.
Sweet. So, no more nerd talk.
Okay, no more nerd talk.
No more tech talk. We'll save that for later.
But for those who had mentioned my boots, thank you so much.
I have those same boots.
We had a little bit of a debate this morning, I will say. We were in the airport, and JD did not like my boots. He's like, I'm not a big fan of your boots. And I'm just like, listen, Nobody gets between me and my boots. So thank you for those of you who had my side in regards to the boot wearingness. And they have little tassels on the back too. So that's just flavor right there. So JD, you're wrong. Okay.
Hey, so Mojo Sanjay says, what do you think it was about you that made you successful so fast? There are so many photographers. Holler at me. Tell me what you think.
It was a myriad of things. The first three things that come to my mind was, number one was the fact that I have an old blog that's still up. It's a Blogspot blog, and there's a link on my current blog to my old blog, and I leave it up just to keep it real. You know, I never want people to come to my blog and think, who does she think she is? Like, I leave that old one up to literally start at the beginning, where I'm completely scared. I don't know how to turn my camera on. There are posts in there that say, I'm shooting my first engagement session. I'm so scared right now. I have no idea how it will fare. Completely transparent. There's something about honesty, there's something about transparency on the web that resonates with people, and it at the same time helps manage expectation. So people were paying me, when I first started, I was shooting weddings for $1,000. When they were paying $1,000, they were following me on my blog. They weren't expecting like Annie Leibovitz meets Ansel Adams meets Chase Jarvis. You know,
your beard is way smaller than Ansel.
They weren't expecting this like love child to create this prodigy to create something magical. I was out there saying like, listen, I'm trying to find my way, and I will bust my hump to make sure that I give you the best that I can. But at the same time,
did you just say hump on the air?
Is that
is that
amazing word. Legal?
FCC storms us.
A Fergie says it in a song, and they play it on the radio, so I'm good. So yeah, transparency in the web is a huge thing. I think that allowed me to stick out because, again, in a sea of thousands of blogs where photographers are getting on and they're talking about their slam and bam and buttery, creamy, over the top, make your L's melt with awesomeness photos, there was this person who was just like, hey, I don't have it together, but you and me, we could probably do something cool together. That was, I think, one thing, a point of differentiation. Another thing was just relatability. The fact that I had gotten married, you know, not even a year before, that I was a bride turned photographer. I could speak out of both sides of my mouth, as the professional side and then also as the bride. That
What's
helped.
the bride going through right now?
Yeah, exactly.
So Laura, the bride to be on Friday's wedding, I've had a chance to chat with her a little bit, and she's also a photographer.
Yes.
And so
she came to my very first photo workshop.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So you guys are going to reconnect, and it's going to be wonderful. I had a chance to chat with her, and she was really giving me the same thing, like seeing it from both sides, and I thought that was really interesting. So I think it's cool that you brought that up.
Definitely.
As a point of differentiation.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Got it.
And then the third thing would just be, I don't know what the third thing is. I like numbers. I think 3 is like a nice number, but I couldn't think of the third thing. So I could just like, I'm grasping at the straws here. I have no idea.
Okay, the third thing will be mystery to be announced at the end of the show. So stand by. Okay, all that's, I think it's really helpful. The transparency thing is cool. The story that I will relate to from my personal experience is that I feel like I too was transparent long before it was cool to be so, and it got me in a lot of hot water with the status quo, and it also had the effect of making me stand out because I was sharing all of the secrets, and not necessarily me weeping about being stressed out of my job tomorrow, but here's how I did this, and I was pulling it out of my rear end at the last minute. And here is them. I mean, I have a number of blog posts that if you Google on my blog mistakes, there's like just mistakes that I've made, and I think it goes a long way with connecting with other people on the web. And you mentioned also even with your prospective customers, they actually, there's something there with setting expectations, and I think
I'm going to steal that idea. But since I'm telling you in advance that I'm going to steal it, it's more like borrowing.
I like appropriating.
Okay, I'm going to appropriate that mistake idea.
Don't even give me credit because I'm sure I've appropriated it from people before me. So.
I'm so going to use that though on my blog next week.
Mistake, and I'm like, 2,942.
Mistakes? Yeah, exactly.
Jasmine, would you ever consider shooting a wedding using film or doing a personal project in film? This is from Melissa Blueward. I
shot a little bit on film when I was in college, and I developed my own film, and I love it. But it's not a medium that I would be comfortable with shooting a wedding. I've developed a pattern in how I shoot, and in order to sustain that type of like rapid succession of shooting, digital is the way that I've learned. And I actually like instant gratification. Like my attention span is like, wait, what? You know, so it's like I want to see what is going on behind my camera, and yeah. So I would love to shoot something on film for personal things. Like if I traveled, I'd love to shoot film, but other than that, it's going to be digital.
Gotcha. There's actually maybe too many for these. I'm gonna what is it called? Reload some pictures. There you go.
Oh, Manny 23 asked, would you trade wedding photography for commercial photography? No, because then I would have to compete with him. Like I wouldn't. If we went up for a job next to each other, I would never win. I'm just not going to compete against you. I'm sorry. I'm not.
Plenty of room for both of us, for sure. But I do. Let's visit that just for a second, because again, in many ways, I'm kind of probing you to learn a little bit more about the wedding photography process, because it is. I mean, we're both holding a camera for a living, but I feel like there are points. And there are ones we've highlighted already where things are very similar. The management of the kind of the fear and customer expectations, and the, oh my God, what am I doing here? And then over time, there's kind of confidence and whatnot. That's about where they're similar, but that's about where they end being similar. Other than we're both going like this, or like this, or like this. But I want your take on that. Like, aren't they pretty different?
I think they're very different. Do you want to take a question real quick?
Is there a question? Wow.
Oh, dude.
These have been summarized. Kate, thank you very much. Where did these come from? These come from the interwebs?
Okay.
Got it. Okay.
I would just like to point out that you are who you are because you have a wonderful counterpart. Seriously.
Yes, that's true. Kate
might be the head of this enterprise, but she's the neck. Let's give her a round of applause.
Yeah, let's get that straight. Like, Kate does. She runs the show.
Like amazing. Wow, Kate, thank you.
And Eric's second in charge, right behind Kate. All right, so I'm going to hold on to these.
Okay.
And we're going to go back to that commercial wedding deal. And are they two heads of the same animal? Are they?
I think they're branches on a tree.
Okay. See, that's what law school gets you right there. Philosophy school, and I'm like two-headed monster, and she's like branches of a tree. Okay. Are you gonna drink that?
What? Go ahead.
No,
help
I'm just
yourself.
kidding.
No. Seriously. Go ahead.
Norton,
here we go.
do you have your? Can I have some more champagne, buddy? Thank you. No, God, just in case you get nervous and you can just chug that.
Okay. No, I do think that they're very different. I mean, yes, we both have clients, and yes, we both shoot cameras for a living, and yes, we both are passionate about what we do, but the way that we go about achieving an end result and the end result in and of itself are two very different things. So I would not be comfortable shooting a commercial project, nor would I ever venture into that.
I can tell you right now, I haven't shot a wedding, and I would have no idea what to do.
And there's a lot of people who feel that way. It is the most stress-inducing. Like, you see me now, like, you know, happy and like rainbows and butterflies. And boots, right. And on a wedding day, it's not so much that. It's like, oh my God, like it's go, go, go. Like, it's like a mullet. And on wedding day, I'm all business. Right now, I'm the ponytail.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah. That was a bad joke.
That
didn't fly very well.
That's okay.
It was funny in my mind.
You'll always be a mullet to me.
I'm always a mullet.
So you don't want to shoot commercial.
Yeah, no.
I don't want to shoot weddings.
Great.
Is the rest of the world, do they follow that line, or is there some other line within the photography community? Like, is that the divider, or is there really a series of subdividers between editorial and commercial and wedding and product and food and how's the industry like parsed?
I don't know, just off the top of my head, the clearest distinction for me would be people versus products. And though there might be people in product pictures, the approach is very different. So you're working with somebody who's professional versus the people line, and the people line herein lies like family photographers, senior photographers, baby photographers, wedding photographers, even like, I mean, and lifestyle falls in all of those genres or what have you, but sure. That's I think the biggest demarcation. People.
Got it. Yeah, I seriously, I wouldn't have the first clue.
Right.
As like, what's the first picture you take, how you take it, and so I
just don't think it's smart though to try to do everything.
Yeah.
Like, I decided in the beginning, like I just want to shoot weddings, and in the beginning I did try to shoot families, and I sucked at it. I was awful because I didn't like it, but I did it because it was quick money, and it was then when I realized, okay, I can either spend a Saturday shooting a family because I was working part-time, and so the only time that I could shoot was on the weekend, so I would schedule a family shoot on a Saturday that I didn't want to do to begin with, but it was paying me, and I was like, okay, well, at least I'm practicing. And then I got to a point to where the only referrals I was getting was for family photography, something I didn't like, something I didn't want to do.
A commonality between the two different camps. If you shoot a bunch of stuff that you don't want to be shooting, I'm going to save this as, here we go, there you go.
Okay.
Sorry, it's bugging me. Like, if you shoot a bunch of stuff that you don't want to be shooting, you will become, and you put that out there in the world, that is what you will get hired to shoot.
Absolutely. That's the only thing you will be known as.
And so you changed that.
Right.
You said, what am I doing here? This is driving me nuts.
And I said I would rather spend my weekends either on photography forums, learning how to better hone where the direction I want to go, or putting myself out there. And so I shot weddings for free with other photographers forever, for months and months and months. And I would go on as like a third shooter or even a fourth shooter, anything that I could shoot.
Well, you take picture of as a fourth shooter, the third
I
third guy's back. Got a bunch of great pictures of Ken's art.
Whatever, I was there at the wedding. You know, I just had a camera, so I kind of felt cool. I was dressed in black, and I was like, I have my camera.
I'm in black.
Yeah, see, you're professional. If you showed up like that on a wedding, maybe change your pants, but you'd really be professional.
Bare feet?
Not so much. Not so much. I felt cool on a wedding day, and even if it was moving me microscopically in one direction, at least it was the direction I wanted to go.
Tell me about failure.
Oh Lord, we'll be here all day. I have failed far more than I've ever succeeded, ever. I fail constantly. I think that with every project comes a new sets of failures. It's how you deal with the failures, and how you really like bounce back and like learn from them. I mean, even last Saturday, literally the minute I got in the car, I thought of like 2 mistakes that I made, and it killed me. Like I was just like, how could I have made such a stupid small mistake? I knew you were going to ask me. I
want the folks at home want particulars. I don't want to like, oh, I've made so many mistakes. That sounds like a novel.
I know. I'm like so esoteric.
I was like, yeah, like I drop cameras all the time. I take the wrong pictures. I mean, just like what are?
The mistake that I made on Saturday was that I didn't get a shot of the rings, and to me, that's like a big deal.
Got it.
I didn't have access to the rings during the time where I usually shoot the rings, and I thought about it. It was already nighttime, and I had asked the coordinator to please get me the rings. And of course, through the course of the day, it was not her fault. It's totally not her fault. But I'd mentally made a note of it, like, do not forget the rings.
Got it.
And the night got crazy.
This is so crazy. It's like a foreign language to me. It's amazing. I seriously, I feel like I'm in the learning seat now. This is great.
Okay. So, and at the end of the day, is it that big of a deal? Is it a huge, huge, huge blunder? No, thankfully the bride resides in Los Angeles, and
so do you.
So do I.
Her hands are there.
No. That's like 1970s, like the picture of the hands over each other.
See, there you go.
No, you can't do wedding photography. No, it's a little bit cooler these days. I promise.
Sweet. I can't wait to see it. I'm saying my parents.
Yeah,
because Kate and I didn't have
my parents have, but actually theirs was, they had a bouquet, and then my father's hand, and then my mother's hand over the bouquet. And then it had like a filter, like a soft, like dreamy filter.
We use a lot of those around here.
Okay.
Eric's got one on right now, trying to make my zits look a little bit.
Is that why everybody looks so good up in here?
That's right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'll likely, call her and say, hey, I'm gonna cruise down to where you are, and I will shoot your rings. It was a blunder that I made. I'll have to fix it. But at the same time, so what I took away from that was it's not a period, it's like a semicolon. It's now that I made that mistake, I will for sure have Laura and Billy's wedding rings on Friday.
Got it.
Like, I'm not going to screw that up. Like, I refuse to, because I had just made that mistake.
Got it.
And I've been doing this for 4 years. How can you make such a stupid mistake? Well, you do.
Right. And at the end of the day, I think we're all human and mistakes happen, and you just try and limit them and make the ones that you do make not catastrophic.
Definitely.
That was a good one that I had last Saturday. Other mistakes? Like what's...
I don't think I...
Riff on mistakes for a little bit, because again, I feel like I am really good and open at blowing it, and I'm willing to huck it out there, and that's part of what has helped me resolve my own successes and failures with, oh well, just maybe I'll have a success tomorrow.
Okay, so I actually, so I wrote a blog post for B&H. They are the kind sponsors.
Love B&H.
Yes, they're the kind sponsors for the course.
Awesome.
You're so thug, Chase. You're so thug.
I am so lucky.
B&H.
Right?
B&H. Okay.
Amazing company.
They are. They're wonderful. So in light of the course, they said, hey, would you want to contribute a blog post? And as I was thinking about the blog post, I thought of one of the biggest mistakes that I made at the beginning of my career. It was my very first wedding. I was so nervous. I had shot other weddings with other photographers, so I understood the ebb and flow of the day, but I was outside of the element as being a first photographer, the main photographer.
Driving the bus.
Right, of driving the bus. And it's a really big bus, right? You know, because there's no reverse on this bus.
Right.
So, no, like really,
right.
like she walks down the aisle and that's it.
Right.
Like,
can you do that over
yeah,
again?
Exactly.
That's the best part about my job. Like,
exactly.
We're going to have to do that again.
Exactly.
And one more time usually means 10 more times.
Absolutely.
If you're a model out there and you've worked with me before, you know that.
Okay, so I don't have that luxury. So I got the timeline from the bride, like literally the night before, or even the morning of the wedding. It was in the midnight range. So I look over the timeline, I'm like, okay, sure. Well, she wants to have a sunset wedding, and she's not seeing her groom before. Okay, so I don't see this as a problem with sunlight, even though anybody would have known who has experience, this is a major problem with sunlight. She's getting married in a garden. If the sun goes down, there's no way that you can bounce flash anywhere. I didn't have...
Bounce it off that wall of leaves over there.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like so...
That's an insider photographer's joke.
We'll be here all week, folks.
Sorry about that. That was stupid. Rewound. We didn't even say that.
Okay.
Nerds.
So I wasn't fancy enough to have a reflector at the time. I mean, it was really bad. So family formals come around, and literally it's pitch black. Like, people are silhouetted,
like,
and I'm thinking,
Mom, is that you?
I know. It was. I mean, it wasn't bad. It was horrific. It was bad. It was really, really, really bad. And my camera wouldn't focus because it couldn't find anything to focus on. And so I'm freaking out at this point in time. And then JD, my husband and second shooter, thug life right there. I like beg him, thank God we had a flashlight in our car. Now we are so high veg and technically savvy up in Jasmine Star hood. Good. So I'm like, please go get the flashlight, because if we just put the flashlight on the family, at least the camera will focus, we'll turn the flashlight off, and then the flash will fire.
Got it. It worked.
Yeah, it worked, but those pictures,
not sweet.
Not so
Everyone's
nice.
Like,
and I totally thought. I mean, they're literally like just heads in a black sea. I mean, they could have been against a black.
Point being, we've all blown it.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Got it.
Oh, but here's the best part. I totally thought that my career is over. She's going to hate all the photos, and never once did she ever bring up the family formals. She sent me a thank you note. She sent cookies, and she said she had a great experience. I mean, the things that we think are so bad or horrific or going to be the disaster of us are the very things, like, most of the time, that's the types of pictures that people are used to. You know, that direct flash and black backgrounds. And so it was good enough for her, and the rest, thankfully, the rest of the wedding photos made up for it.
Right, and you learned a ton.
I did.
Yeah, that's, I love that takeaway, that there's this, one of the things that I personally believe very deeply in is creating on a regular basis. Just create, make. And the idea of making something and then putting it out there and sitting back and watching, and like, I'm way more of an action person and make mistakes than a over analyzer, and either to success or to detriment. I find that I'm able to apply more knowledge more quickly. What I learned last week, yesterday, the day before, 2 weeks ago, to whatever it doesn't matter if it's for Nike, Apple, some major brand. It's coming from last week. It's also coming from last year and 2 years ago. But if you're actually taking pictures a lot, and that's, I mean, pressing the button more than other photographers is something I've advocated for a long time. It sounds like you're
absolutely
right. Got to go out there and blow it a little bit.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Questions? How do I start branding/marketing myself? This came in from the old internets.
Oh, wow. Okay, we will go in depth. And the thing about this particular thing is, I wanted to keep it as like flowing, and I don't want to bring out the big guns.
Yeah, don't go too deep. Just give me the short version, and people know that they will tune in and watch for free.
Definitely.
Over the course, starting tomorrow at what time is that start?
11.
At 11. At 11, I'm going to announce you and say, "Here, everybody,
oh,
come on,
really?
please." Jasmine Star at 11. At 11. Oh, my pleasure. I'm excited.
That is like big time.
My jet lag, the bags under my eyes couldn't get any bigger right now. I landed at 1 in the morning from Paris. But thanks for doing my makeup this morning, by the way.
I did a good job.
The big guns will be brought in.
Yes, tomorrow.
Tomorrow. But for now, what's the short version?
The short version is, again, I don't have the answer. I don't have the right answer. I just know how I did it, and there are literally hundreds of thousands of people who think I suck and I did it wrong.
One tip, how have you done it?
By being myself. By being real out on the web. And I think that specifically, I don't know if it parlays as well into commercial photography, but for my niche, what I do is I have consumers who buy out of emotion and out of connectivity and affinity for the person. I've come to believe that brides are booking photographers more than they are booking for the photographs. And I feel like wedding photographers shy away from that notion. So the minute that you embrace it and you can incorporate and marry both like this personal element to your brand and a professional element, then I think that you're going to do far better than trying to be somebody you're not.
I gotta agree with that in the commercial realm. I feel like
good.
There's a technical know-how that you must have. You must be able to get the picture. You must be able to see pictures. You must be able to manage a big crew, because on some of these commercial jobs, yes, sure, sometimes there are 10 people, sometimes there's 70 people, which is totally absurd. It does freak me out a little bit, but it's the get in the door is having kick-ass photography, and after you do that, everything else is in part what helps you earn the jobs that you get. It sounds like, I mean, there are photographers that are so good that they can be complete jackasses and get hired.
Yeah.
I don't want to be one of those. B, don't know too many of them that are still in business or that have a reputation that's not full of bullet holes. And it sounds like it's a similar thing. There's an emotional connection there, right? 100%. And again, it's not to say that it's not, that the creative aspect isn't a prime selector. It's kind of like the get in the door fee. You have to have that in order to be able to be considered for all the other stuff.
Right.
All right, so that's a great way. Marketing is be yourself. A couple of must-do photos. Just name a few.
Oh, we are gonna. I was on the plane. I am telling you, you guys are asking all the right questions. This crowd is going to be in it to win it tomorrow. Whoa. I love it.
Did you hear that? Name 3 must-have photos. Because seriously, it's from planet Mars. Me. So if I was going to shoot 3, I know the rings now. That's one. What's one?
Oh, salt moon. Oh,
right. I can find some salt
the must-have. You need to have the first kiss.
Oh,
that's the must.
Is it like the real first kiss, or is it like?
The first kiss is actually on the altar. When
on
the
officiant
says,
see, that's how little I know. When's the first kiss? My first kiss was like 4th grade.
Oh, you're a player pimp. How old were you, 8 when you had first kissed a girl?
I'm not even gonna go there.
That is swag right there. You and your little Oshkoshes kissing girls.
2 other must-do photos.
Must-do photos. You need to get a shot with the father and the bride walking down the aisle.
Got it.
Or whoever is walking her down the aisle. That's like a really important.
Yeah.
That's a
or
really
the
important.
mother and the bride. In your case, for example.
Yes, my mother and my father, and that's a really special photo to me still to this day.
One more.
One more. It would be I definitely think that, I know it's boring and it's not something that I'm signature to do.
3 pictures.
But you need to have a signature, like a just nice classic portrait.
Got it.
That's just
classic.
I like the fun stuff, but you need to have like
the
that.
equivalent of the in the commercial and advertising world is that you have to shoot to the brief, and then once you get that shot, you check that box, then you can go nuts.
Okay, so tell me about the shoot to the brief, because that just sounds cool. I'm just going to say that at weddings now. I'm turning to JD, got to shoot to the brief. Shoot to the brief, right there.
That will be for a different show, where she has me on her show. Biggest mistake ever made?
I didn't take enough risks. That's it. When I first started, I was so afraid. I will be honest, I wasn't committed to photography. I didn't know if it was going to work. I didn't want to spend so much on my gear. I didn't want to spend so much from the outset. And I didn't push myself. Commitment
is a major issue for photographers. Just like putting the hammer down and saying, this is who I am, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to tell the world, and I'm going to buy the right stuff, and I'm going to do this. I feel like so many people want to dip their foot in the water, and then they up to their ankle, and then they step into the first step.
Right.
And I'm not going to say that doesn't work, because there are a million ways, as we started off the show with, there's a million ways to get into it, but if you feel it, you got to go for it. Sounds
Absolutely.
like you didn't take enough risks.
And I think, for even it typifies how hard it was for me to be committed to this. I couldn't even say that I was a photographer. When people asked what I did.
What do you do?
Yeah, I was like a rapper. I'm a photographer. I couldn't even say it. So I think that, for a while I just couldn't really own what I wanted to be. And I was too afraid to actually put my dream out there in the world. And the minute that I actually just let go and said, no, I'm really doing this, and people are paying me to shoot weddings, was when things really changed for me.
One word: inspiration.
My father. I know that's the cheesiest.
No, it's great.
Cheesiest answer.
Your father is an inspiration to me as well.
I was you know my daddy?
Advice to bloggers. Another question from the internet here. That's a weird one because we're not bloggers. Well, I guess in part we're bloggers, but I don't identify with the bloggerness of myself at all. Really,
I do.
Yeah, okay.
I totally embrace it.
Sweet. I embrace it, but I've never called myself a blogger in my life.
Oh, really?
Never.
I call myself a blogger all the time.
Sweet. Blog on.
It makes me sound, I don't know.
Like a blog.
Like a blog.
That is a nice sound. The blog sound. Advice to bloggers. They want to know. Advice to bloggers.
There's so many advices. I'll do 3 pieces of advice because I want to go back to the 3 thing because I think I can give 3 this time.
Okay.
So first piece of advice, continuity. You can't blog whenever you feel, or yes, you theoretically can blog whenever you want, but you can't blog once every 3 weeks. People won't come back.
Got it.
So continuity, if it's 1 week, if it's...
I'm writing this down.
Thank you, because you're not a blogger.
I know.
So,
I happen to have a blog.
Just kidding. Yeah, so continuity is a big thing. Being personal, again, I keep on going back to this, but in order for people to feel some level of connectivity to you, the first time I ever went to your blog, you were sitting and you just were talking to your computer and you were on a shoot. And I didn't know anything about you. And I had heard somebody say your name and they just said that you were this big famous photographer. I'm like, I'm going to check this big famous photographer out. And I was like, okay. And so I go and there you are, completely unrefined and raw. Just
big zit on the forehead.
No, you didn't have it. No, you didn't have a zit. And I think you might have brushed. But you were just sitting there and you were just talking about it. And I think that level of openness was what initially kind of opened my eyes to just kind of who you were. And I felt like people shy away from that. Be real, be who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, and everything in between. And people will find a level of you'll get a higher level of responsiveness.
For what it's worth, I think that's great. I think that just going out there and putting whatever it is, whether it's your personality, whether it's your successes and failures, putting it out there, wearing it on your sleeve, all those things are really important.
Definitely.
I would agree with that.
Definitely.
We're going back to the phones, as they say.
Okay.
In old TV world. Eric, you look like you have a sore back. Are you okay?
He took his chair.
He took his chair, yeah.
I think your mic pack might have died, so I might have a concerned look in my eye. We got to put him back up here.
How's that? I will talk to the mic that's over my head. Is that better? Let me look at this guy here.
You're fine, dude.
It says we're good. Okay. Wow, a lot of people are actually hollering at us
Yay! I love the internet.
Yeah, isn't it amazing? There's been several hundred since we've been sitting here. There was about 40 at the 14-minute mark. I'm sure you run into cameras dying on wedding day. Yes?
No. It's my responsibility as a professional to know where I stand with my camera. And I've shot enough weddings now to know with what frequency I need to be changing out my battery. Wedding photographers, is very common to have like an extra battery pack attached, but I'm weak sauce and my wrists like kill me, and I'm a girl, so I just walk.
Weak sauce.
I bet you haven't heard that. I bet you haven't heard that since the 4th grade, since you were like kissing girls back then. But I change my battery right before the grand entrance. Even though I know that I have enough like battery juice to get me to where I need to be, at that time there's a lull, and so I do a quick switcheroo, and then I know that I'm good for the rest of the night. So no, I haven't had a camera die on me.
Got it.
Or even not even batteries, or like have a snafu, thank God. But watch, on Friday, of all my luck, here I am talking a big game, right? I'm talking a big game, and on Friday something's gonna happen to my camera. Dang it.
Do you have an extra?
I do. I have a backup. So that's how we roll.
That's the takeaway from that message.
Yes, the takeaway, the letter sponsoring this message would be that if something happened to my camera, I would turn to JD, grab his camera, and then he would know to go get the spare.
Got it. What if he's like, no, it's mine? You're like, no, it's mine.
No, you have to give him the eye.
Yes.
It's the eye. It's like the.
Okay, got it.
The whole.
We're really hard on our gear on location, especially. We've shot 30,000 pictures in a day, and we've definitely blown up cameras. Sometimes I think we've even blown up a couple in one day. Isn't that true, Scott? Yes. and having a backup on hand, that's again part of the professional aspect of it. And what differentiates people who can take good pictures from professionals are those folks that actually go out there and do it every day reliably, I think. So that's a good one. And how about those who live in a state that have 4 seasons and limited weddings in winter? That's from 283 Photography. I'm suggesting that 283 is probably their area code, and they are representing.
What?
283 Photography. Jasmine, what do you recommend for those of us who live in a state with 4 seasons and have limited weddings in the winter? Like,
in California, we have 4 seasons too. They are just not as prominent.
That's right.
But there is a slow season for California wedding photographers as well, and I think the weather report does slate rain for this Friday's wedding.
Okay, let's talk about that just for a second.
Oh Lord, I know, I'm nervous. I have to say, I was like,
the middle of August in Seattle.
It does not rain on a Jasmine Star wedding.
Oh yeah.
Dang it. We'll see.
No, but let's we'll keep our fingers crossed. It could add to some it could make for some interesting stuff, but you'll make sure you have some backups. You'll shoot more pictures on Thursday. You're going to get a chance to work with the
yes, I'm working with the bride and groom on Thursday, but they're not going to be in their wedding attire.
No,
so
it doesn't matter.
It doesn't, like, theoretically, but to a bride it totally does.
Last time I was a bride, it didn't matter to me one bit. No, I get it. But there is an added level of
stress.
Yes.
Definitely. So today, actually, after this, I'm going to head out and I'm going to go and scope out the property of Theo and the surrounding properties. And
can I take a minute to give a shout out to Theo Chocolates? Okay, so this venue is an amazing venue, and to be honest, I would love for this place to have been my studio. Joe Winnie is the founder and CEO of Theo, is a friend of mine, and when we were looking for venues here, Kate actually had the idea of bing, Theo space, and I love the idea that this wedding on Friday, Laura and Billy, is going down. It's a wedding in a chocolate factory. I think it's a wonderful story, and the space is really cool. Exposed bricks. It was an old trolley repair shop in Seattle, however many, 100 years ago or something. So super cool spot, and it's right down there by the canal, so there'll be plenty of stuff to shoot. And it's actually if it's not raining, it's actually only about I was going to say quarter, but it's more than a quarter. Let's call it a half mile from here. It's very close.
Cool. So I know that Laura is getting ready here on Friday, correct?
I heard that. I was in France when that decision was made. I think it's really cool. No, it's cool.
Are you going to be here on Friday?
I do not know. Kate, am I going to be here on Friday? I don't know. But I would like to participate. Participate. That came across wrong. I don't want to participate in getting ready.
You want to shoot? I'll give you a camera. You want to be the third shooter?
But you never really answered 283. What about when you you got a down time, a down period, what do you do?
I blog, and I find other projects to be busy with.
Your marketing.
Absolutely.
You're putting together a new portfolio, a new book, new website.
Shooting for yourself. And during the downtime, I try to make sure that I'm going to a photography workshop or some sort of industry workshop or some type of marketing workshop, anything that will give me fodder to still keep my toes in the industry. And there's no better write-off than going to like the Grand Cayman Islands during the winter, or or going to Hawaii for a workshop or something like that. So it's definitely staying busy during those months is a big thing.
Great. Sue Marty says, guys, the sound is too low. Please turn it up a little bit. Well, that
no, they kept on. Okay, so the reason why the sound is low is because I laugh really loud.
And you blew out D'Artagnan's
I did. So I'm talking low like I'm cool, and then I laugh, and then the guys back there in the sound are like jerking in their chairs, and so he's like deaf. So
see, this is me showing you that it's not all real. There's a little bit of criticism on the sound. That's just our bad. The internet, and frankly the reality is that it can be different for everybody. Someone in New York can be saying turn it down, and someone in California can be saying turn it up. So that's the current state of affairs. Ustream is awesome. Like imagine like what we're doing right now wasn't possible even a year ago.
Right. It's incredible.
Big ups to Ustream for that cool thing that they have made possible for us all. I'm going back to the phones. How have you become so dang successful in a short amount of time? Is there some business techniques that you can share with Seth Hancock?
Well, I will
and other newbies.
I don't know if this is going to directly answer his question, and you can keep it real and tell me if it was like a lame answer. But when I first started, my big business strategy was to actually get out and get busy. So when you first start shooting weddings, there's two schools of thought. One, you should charge what you think you're worth, which could be anything, or you could charge so that you get busy. And I'm all about getting busy, So what? That just happened. That is a different kind of internet show, okay? So.
That just happened.
Okay, so I made the decision from actually talking to my own wedding photographer. I'm like, what do you think I should do? And he said, you should start shooting weddings for $1,000 in my neck of the woods, which is Southern California, which really is at the very, very, very bottom, which is with the Uncle Bob photographers. Wow. He's like, shoot weddings for like $1,000, and every 3 weddings you book, raise your prices $300.
There you go.
That
Equation.
was it.
That's a takeaway right here.
Right there. I'm just dropping some knowledge.
That's right.
I'm not saying that works for everybody, but for me it did, because could you just imagine, I started at the end of 2006. I was shooting weddings at $1,300 if you do the math, because I shot 3 weddings.
Yep.
Okay, so I raised it up, so it's $1,300. At the beginning of 2007, I was shooting weddings for $1,300, but I had booked close to 40. So we raised our prices very fast in a short amount of time. Right. And yes, was I slashing my referral base from the first tier brides? Absolutely, but it's just the cost of doing business, and I don't want to be shooting $1,000 weddings forever. So
I think that's a great takeaway. Then that's applicable to a cross section of the audience that's not just wedding shooters.
Right.
If you're still tuned in out there, that you cannot be everything to everybody, and that when you raise your prices, there is attrition, and that attrition, ironically, for us here, we try and just find a sweet spot where we're doing the kinds of work that we want to be doing with the kinds of people and agencies and brands that we want to be working with. And I think it's exactly the same for you. You know, there's a certain place where maybe when you were shooting a lot of $1,000 weddings, you'd have to do some things that, well, it's because it's so cheap, you're going to do a little more of this or a little less of this.
Right.
And as you raised your prices, you eliminated some of those questions and concerns and requests.
Absolutely.
There's a whole different set of problems.
Right.
But you're just changing your focus a little bit.
Definitely.
I love the synergies there. Cool. So that's a great business technique for Seth. Like every 3 weddings, raise your price $300. So over the course of 2007, 40 divided by 3, what is that, 68? It's not really 68, but
I just nodded because I was like, I'm not going to do the math.
That's okay.
I was homeschooled. I can't do that.
So 13, you raise your prices about 13.33 times.
Bravo.
And booyah.
Med school.
you can make a lot of money shooting weddings. I know people that make a ridiculous amount of money shooting weddings, and I'm sure, actually, I know that you do quite well. But talk to me about the whole price thing. It's taboo, and I'm not afraid.
It is
breaking through the taboos. No, I'm just kidding. That's horrible. But like, it's taboo. Talking about pricing is taboo. You can make a lot of money. You give up some things, you gain others. Talk about pricing.
God, I feel like that's like a big thing. What do you want to know specifically?
Just because I want to say we talked about pricing, and I want you to say some juicy stuff. And
I just want to put you on the spot, Jasmine.
No, I'm not trying to put you on the spot. This is not Charlie Rose. But I mean, it's so raising your prices like every 3 weddings. So if you shoot 2 weddings in a weekend, the next weekend on a Saturday, are you $300 more? Like, do you still employ that technique?
So not so much anymore, because I am in a different. I'm in a different price bracket. So my prices, for my studio fee, what we call our studio fee, which is simply to show up for 6 hours and shoot the wedding and nothing else, is $7,500.
Great.
An average collection for a client in Southern California will roughly run around $10,000 or $11,000.
Got it.
So
and this is information that's available on your website.
No.
Wow, we are getting the juicy.
Yeah, they're getting the skinny. No, and I'm really not that secretive about my pricing. It is what it is. Like, if people ask about it tomorrow, I have nothing to hide.
Right.
But because I am in a very different price structure, and the way that clients book for weddings, at least the way that I want my clients to book for weddings, is a year in advance. So it's not like
4 weeks is not the right amount.
not so much. So it's not like as if I'm booking a client and then the following week she's going to be paying like a different price. Like they're scattered like throughout the year. And so at some point, I mean, truly, like at some point when I first started, I was shooting a wedding that I was being paid $2,000 for, and then the following weekend I was shooting a wedding that I was paid close to $5,000 for. So it really does change. But now that I'm in a different market, my prices aren't fluctuating so much. I do raise them on a yearly basis, but for instance, I feel like for 2011, I've been booking at a faster rate than I was last year, and so I will likely raise my prices because that's how I control the amount of weddings that I shoot. I only want to shoot around 23 to 25 weddings next year, and if I'm booking at
around 23 weddings. I just want to decide to shoot around 23.
Yeah, around 23. I like numbers.
Got it.
23 and 25. Between 23 and 25 allows me to still have weekends throughout the year. With what we do, we travel a lot for the weddings, and so if we shoot a Saturday wedding, say in New York, it's like we're leaving on a Thursday night, and so we don't come home until Sunday night. That's 4 days out of the week, and it's a ton.
Do you feel sorry for her, Scott?
Scott, move that camera up and down, up and down. I saw what you did last time.
Doesn't feel sorry.
No, but I want weddings. I want to go. I mean, you will find us at the beach every weekend that we're not shooting, and I want to live that lifestyle. And so 23 is that number, and it's still I speak to different like photography organizations, so it still allows me to balance the speaking. It allows me to pick up a creative live course, so things like that.
Great.
So. Yeah. Did that answer that question? Oh, and you know who asked a really interesting question that I totally need to get to? Allison Keel asked, does your belt match your shoes? Chase, does my belt match my shoes?
Hells yeah.
It does. I have to say. They were bought 2 years apart, but they match. And
my flip-flops don't match my belt.
I'm totally trying to change the direction of this interview, clearly.
No, it's good.
Banalities.
Toward your strengths. And,
my strengths are boots. Thanks a lot.
Boy, these little tweets are just pouring in here. I can't keep up with them. I feel like I'm doing something criminal by scrolling past so many of them. Have you ever turned down, this is a great question, have you ever turned down a wedding due to a bad vibe? Laner.
You are just like bringing out
I'm bringing the heat.
Wow.
Laner asks online.
Okay, yes, I have.
Just wasn't feeling it, right?
It's not like you walk in and be like, you won't do. It's definitely not that. You do get, if not red flags, you get pink flags.
Got it.
Doing, like everybody knows what a pink flag is. Like it's like that feeling. It's that intuitive. Do you know? Just move your camera up and down. Yes, you know what a pink flag.
That's a pink flag right there.
Okay.
She doesn't know what a pink
Well, this girl, this wedding photographer, has maybe a seventh sense.
Got it.
Where you can kind of start feeling early on.
Are you honest with them? Do you say, you know what, I'm not vibing with you guys and it's not going to work? Or do you say, my dog has a cold?
No, I think that honesty is always the best thing. If people are not going to like me, I would prefer that they not like me for me being truthful. And I never just say, you won't do, or you're not a good fit for me. I would prefer, depending on what their needs were. Like one bride, literally, within the first couple weeks of us communicating, she had sent me like a 4-page shot list for her wedding, one of which included me walking down the aisle with my dad, the first kiss, a shot of my shoes. It's like things that I would just get naturally that are just intuitive. And I kind of felt like pink flag, it wasn't a red flag where she was like totally crazy bridezilla, but to be that way a year before her wedding, I just felt like, well, that's a little too much for me.
Whoa. That is the reason that.
Yes, and so I just felt like it was the best thing for me just to email her and say, I think that depending on your needs, like she also wanted hours of like family formals, and so I said, I think a better photographer who's better suited at shooting family formals, because I'm not that great at it, remember? I don't like family, like I'm not a family photographer. I said, here are 3 or 4 recommendations. So try to keep it as amicable and professional as possible 100% of the time. But I have one weekend, that's one opportunity for me to shoot a wedding, and I don't want to shoot a wedding with somebody who is making my life really hard.
Match. No, I think that's a great question. Man, so many of these questions. Some of them have already been answered before, so I'm kind of trying to. Are we going to be able to make this available later? Not telling, so stay tuned. No, I'm just kidding. We'll always make an effort to make it available. Depends on how long we go and what size file we can put it up on our YouTube channel. Speaking of YouTube, it makes me want to interrupt this important dialogue and say you're at Jasmine Star on Twitter.
Yes.
Your Facebook is facebook.com/Jasmine
Star.
Perfect. And then your blog, and you're
my blog is jasminestarblog.com, and my website is jasmine-star.com.
Someone had Jasmine Star, you had to go with the dash?
I did. It's brutal.
Wow.
It's brutal. And they're not giving it up. I know.
Hey.
Don't go to jasminestar.com.
Yeah,
that's pretty bad. Michelle Bress asks, how do I organize my time?
Yes.
And can you share how it is on a common day? I have blogged about this before, but I will say that I had mentioned to you, we just met, but I run a really lean business in that it's just JD and myself working. So of course I could hyperextend myself to do everything, but we work really, really hard to have really normal business hours. So I wake up every day at 6:30. I work in a time to go to the gym. I work in time to take a lunch, and I work in time to walk my dog. And I'm usually done on an average business day at 6:30. Like when I am at home, I work. From 6:30 to 8 o'clock, I'm just doing emails. And then 8 o'clock, I walk the dog, I come home, take off to the gym. I'm showered in at home by 11. I work from 11 to 12:30. We take a lunch break, walk the dog, come home, and then I just sit in my chair and I work till 6:30.
I got to call you out. You said normal business hours, but you also said you start at 6 and then you finish at 6:30.
Okay, so I work, okay. Kablam! Yeah, so, okay, maybe they're not traditional, like, work hours. I probably am working a 12-hour day.
Sure, so I'm coming around at you from the backside now going, I've said it before, and I will say it again here. If you want to have banker's hours, I don't recommend you become a photographer, because it is very competitive. It's very hard, even if you are as firm as it sounds like you are with your time. It's very challenging. It's challenging to do all of the things. I mean, and look here, there's a lot of people in our studio, and all of us work really, really hard. So it's not something for the faint of heart.
No.
And that being said, there is a lot of room between professionals at one end of the spectrum and you had a name for it earlier, I forget, like newbies, but where you're charging $1,000 a wedding and you're booking 3 a year and you're learning and you have a separate job. Like there's a spectrum there that I'm not really going to go into, but at the top where you're operating, and I would argue that it's the same commercially, like there's no room for sleeping in late, doing just a couple of things and then calling it a day early.
It's not.
It's hard work.
It's a lot of hard work. Like, and I think that more than anything, it takes discipline.
Right.
Like, you have to want to work.
You have to want it so bad. I'm just kidding. No, actually. I'm trying to do just the opposite, actually. I'm trying to make light of the fact that we work hard, but it's something that we love. And I think everybody here, I know on my staff, we talk about it. You got to love what you do. And it's not always fun. I mean, I do a bunch of super crappy stuff.
Right.
And I don't want people out there in the world to think that I just drive around and look at myself in the mirror and think what a great job I've got, because it couldn't be further from the truth. I landed at 1 o'clock in the morning. I woke up, went for a run, tried to splash some water on my face, took a shower, was on the phone and answering emails basically constantly from 6:30 this morning till you showed up, and I got a full day afterwards, and it's not going to end tomorrow or the next day or the next day. And I'm not looking for any boo-hoos, but it's hard ass work.
Yeah, absolutely. So like yesterday, the day worked for me very much like how it worked for you. I woke up, I worked baker's hours.
Yesterday.
Yeah, we did. And so I got up at 6:30 yesterday morning, and I worked all the way until 9 o'clock last night. And my workday was extended because I was packing my bags, getting ready for everything today. And then I got to bed roughly around midnight. I woke up this morning at 4:30 to get on the plane and do what I needed to do. And on the plane, what am I doing? Definitely not sipping champagne and mimosas. I'm like working on emails, but we can have a little sip right now. Yeah, balance. It's about balance. But on the airplane, I'm working on emails and definitely touching base with like social media and stuff like that. It's just about taking care of what you have to take care of when you have to.
Bam.
Yep.
Spoken. So we're kind of going on about 90 minutes now. We're going to start to wrap this up. So I expect to see a little flurry of questions here that we'll get to. I'm going to put this thing down for just a second. We'll come back to it because I want to go back to some of the other questions that I had kind of scripted in my mind that are very specific to you.
Okay.
Do you have a signature shot that you do that other people don't do? Do you have like a...
No.
So there's no magic bullet, is what you're saying.
I think the minute I thought that way in what I do, it would be the start of my demise.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
I love the honest answer. There is no magic bullet.
No.
You can take a great picture, but if you go the next day or the next wedding, or for me, the next campaign, and try and take a similar picture,
it won't work.
It's not on.
No.
It's not a formula. I mean, I think having systems in place, and I have some amazing business folks that surround me that make it so that I can do the things that I want to do. But outside of business systems, creatively, just taking a lot of pictures and something might work the next time or the next time when you pick up a piece of knowledge, but there's no you have no signature.
No. I don't say oh, this is my go-to, this is my clutch shot, this is the moneymaker, this is the front of the album, this is a website photo. No.
Albums. Okay, albums freak me out. I think, there's a huge business around albums and books, and since I don't make those for my own work, I have no idea. But what's in an album? Talk to me about albums for a second. Well, for the people who out there who aren't wedding photographers, and those who are, they want to know your secrets. And I know you're going to go into it in the Creative Live classroom.
Just don't mock me, Chase.
No, you're going to go into it. But what's the short version? Give me the whole, I don't know.
Well, the whole thing is basically, the album is the equivalent of my campaign.
Okay.
Because essentially, what the album becomes for me is a feature. The same way that I might open a magazine or even a book and see your stuff. So basically, I want that campaign to be the strongest it could be, but I run a business and where I allow my clients to choose the pictures that go into the album. Yeah, but it's
so do I, though.
Exactly.
Art directors and creative directors are choosing what runs.
My brides are the art directors for their shoot. And so there's a little bit of are you sure you want that photo on the cover of your album? But then there's sometimes where clients we kind of just mesh, and the photos that they pick for their albums just produces this beautiful book. And so I have albums done by leather craftsmen. I've started with them from the beginning of my business, and they're flush mount albums so that the photos are actually onto the page. And so as you turn the pages, they're just thick, some cardstock of sorts, and the photos on it, and so I like them. I love them. And whenever, so leather craftsmen will courier them to my house, so I get a sneak peek before the client does, because I just want to proof everything, make sure it looks the way that it does, and it just always makes me proud.
Have you ever said, this won't do, this is horrible?
No.
No?
No.
Have you ever made changes to the book after you saw it?
No, because, well, actually, I have worked with a designer, a graphic designer, who designs the album. So it's not like I'm not seeing it hands off. I mean, she designs the album.
You see it on the
yes,
screen.
I see it on the screen. And so, of course, anything from a screen that comes into a tangible product is always beautiful.
It's cool, isn't it?
And so it makes me proud. And sometimes I don't want to let them go. Sometimes I just want to keep them a little bit.
I don't blame you.
I'm proud. I'm proud of them.
I like that. There's definitely no magic bullet. I learned a little bit about albums. You can see there's a lot about photography that I don't know. This is the only career I've ever had as a photographer and a director, and I'm showing my naivete here. I'm going to show it again next week when we talk to some food photography people, the folks, the fine folks at Foodista. If you haven't checked out foodista.com, we are sharing the Theo space with them. As soon as we're done, they have a food bloggers conference. Foodista.com is a, what are they?
Do they need any taste testers?
Ooh, that is a good question.
Because I'll volunteer.
We might be able to pull you out of your one of your Creative Live classes and drop you in the middle of tasting some fine cheese and some wine. But so that's next week. And again, it's a little bit about me trying to learn something, and you folks out there learning something along with me. What haven't I asked you that I should have before we go back to the phones for one final round of questions? What haven't I asked you that you wanted me to ask you?
I think probably what I'm most worried about for the event itself.
Okay, tell me.
Because I would just rather come on, just say it. Maybe it'll make me feel better.
You're going to tell the Creative Live audience over at creativelive.com that starting tomorrow, but tell us here first.
I think I'm just worried. Nobody likes criticism, and so then to open yourself up to seeing somebody in the way that the people are going to dissect everything that I do. It's one thing, I feel like JD and I have protected the brand, the Jasmine Star brand, and not to refer myself in third person, that's just weird.
Right.
But the Jasmine Star brand has been protected for so long, and what people see is a final product. They only ever see the print campaign. But to expose yourself to the sometimes ugly back end freaks me out. Do you need to get that?
Take it for somebody who, if there's 10 people that pay attention to whatever it is that you do, and they can scrutinize you and watch you online, and if one of those people, in this case that would be 10%, think you're a total jackass and will be vocal about it, then there's that many people that don't like what you do. And if you magnify that number and you're more public and in front of hundreds of thousands of people on a regular basis, and you use that same math, there's a lot of criticism out there, which you're going to be subjected to that, and I
feel like I made that decision. I made the decision to be okay, well, I don't care.
Bring it.
Whatever.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, you're doing something, and the folks that are criticizing you are probably not.
Right. The folks that are criticizing me are sitting at home or in their cubicle, and I'm doing what I want to do, so I don't care. Yeah, there is a mutual respect that I find amongst other photographers, that they may be critical of other photographers, but at the end of the day, there is a mutual respect, and so usually the criticism comes from a darker place in a certain cross-section of the population of people who pay attention to what it is that photographers or directors or whatever do online. And there's not much you can do about that. Right. And I knew that. So don't sweat it. Right. Are we going to... It's going to be okay. Okay. Laying down on the couch. Yeah, sure. Therapy session for today. No, I should be sitting there, actually, to be honest with you. What other questions should I have asked but didn't? I don't know. I feel like you asked all the hard ones that I wanted to avoid. Okay, I'm good at that. I'm gonna go back to the old CJ Live hashtag here at the Twitter. And God, you guys are so thorough. There's, in the last 1 minute, there's been 20-some, 30-some questions coming in here. Pick a good one. No pressure. You rock, Jasmine. Keep it going from Esqueva. That was a great one. I'm going to give you the good stuff. Jasmine, do you shoot with the iPhone? If so, what other iPhone shooters does she or you take inspiration from Instamatic? Aww. I shoot with my iPhone, but it's just basically for Twitter. It's just to document like where I am.
Playful,
but
and
yeah, I'm definitely not nowhere of your caliber. So.
Oh, well, you make it sound like I walk around like putting all of my time and energy into it.
I pictured you
and
like,
it's not.
you know, with a beret and like a thin cigarette. You're like,
No, it's no secret that I love the iPhone. I was very proud of Best Camera, of the app, and the book Best Camera is one that's with you. I take pictures every day. I share them every day. It's mostly a creative outlet for me to like just stay in touch. And it's not for everybody, but being able to be this close to like a creative weapon feels really good.
Can you believe that we live in a time and age where we walk around with something that documents like everything that we're doing? I just kind of feel like we're building time capsules for future generations in ways that was not possible.
You're not going to want to look at mine. It's got funny pictures of Eric on it. Really funny pictures of Scott. I was actually thinking about doing a blog post
and just like dumping like the last, I don't know, like 20 pictures like on my phone, which would be like,
not be good.
I know, right? I know. That's why I kind of
actually be great.
Really
maybe I'll do it.
Real and reveal.
I will race you to that blog post.
Oh shoot.
Jasmine, you're a high energy person. Who's very organized. That's why you succeed.
And Gladys Jem just wrote, your laugh woke up Chris from a nap. Way to go.
A lot of great questions getting answered here. Everybody's excited and nervous at the same time. A lot of questions we've already answered. Where can I see the written questions and answers on this video? I do not come prepared with a written set of answers. Kate was so wonderful. She handed me a couple because we were just getting so far behind, and that was at the very beginning. And there's been, by the looks of it, somewhere near 1,000 questions. I think I'm just looking at however many are coming in every minute and doing some rough math. But I don't have any written scripts. Sorry. We are going to replay this thing. We'll try and wrap it up and put it out to my YouTube channel. Which is something I really didn't even pay attention to the fact you can subscribe to YouTube channel. So if you do want to get these things on a regular basis, then you can subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is achaser123 after the youtube.com. What's left here? A couple more. There's like, again, they're bouncing in here. Would love to rewatch this. You've got it. Do you have a studio? Do you need one?
That's a good question. I actually prefer to work from home. I feel like I'm the most creative when I am at liberty to be in my own zone, and I like working from sweatpants, and I don't feel like sweats are appropriate if a client were to walk in. Right. But I'm lucky enough to sublet studio space from videographers in Orange County, Elysium. They're wonderful people. I love working with them on weddings, and so it was a great like synergy for the two of us to work together. And so they have just like a studio space where they meet their clients, and then their back end, they have like editors and things going on, but I'm able to meet clients in their studio space.
Sweet.
Yeah, it worked out well.
That question, that's from Laner also. How about, there are a couple of regulars just attacking us here. This is good news. Why is it hard for people in your position to talk about pricing?
It's just taboo, because the minute you say I
this is how much I cost.
$1,000. She's not worth $1,000.
Right.
Who would ever pay? You know, it's like for somebody to ever fathom that somebody would pay, I don't know, $10,000 or $11,000, $12,000, $15,000 to have me shoot a wedding somewhere.
There's 100,000 people going like,
she's not worth it. She's ridiculous. And the fact of the matter remains is they are hiring not a photographer for their wedding day. They're hiring Jasmine Star as their photographer. Therein lies the distinction. Some people might not value that, but I know that my 23 to 25 brides do. And I don't have to make sense to anybody else in the world except for them. And if I do that continuously year after year, I am a success, and I'm thankful for it.
That's, we talk about it internally here, and I've talked about it before publicly, that I have to impress 18 art directors a year. 1 or 2 museum curators or gallerists, and that's a total home run. And of the however many people tune in to whatever it is that we do, like that's the core. Now, I'm not trying to alienate people outside of that, but it sounds like you have the same approach.
Absolutely.
And that's the way you probably stay sane, if I'm not like putting words in your mouth.
No, absolutely. Because of course, like I don't know if I would disagree with somebody saying why would you ever pay $15,000 for her? I don't know if I would sit there and disagree.
There's a long line of people who do and will.
Yes, and I'm thankful for that, and I'm very, very, very blessed to be in that position. So it's great.
All right, there's more about pricing for all you people who have pricing questions. Do you change, this is a total geek one, do you change lenses during the wedding, or do you have multiple cameras with fixed
100%.
lenses on?
I'm a single body shooter. 100%. I swap out my cameras like in like 3 seconds. I mean, my lenses, excuse me. I swap out my lenses like quickly, and I just shoot with one camera on the wedding day. I don't use a strap, and so I don't like the feeling of having to feel like there's like things around me.
You don't want to look like a warrior? Like
yeah, no, I don't.
I gotta admit, I don't understand the whole vest, like.
Right? Exactly.
Like,
or like the
it.
upgraded fanny packs with multiple sides. Have you seen those? Have you seen like photographers with like?
Even the word fanny pack is really awkward.
Well, they exist, Chase. They do.
I know.
They do.
I know. All right.
Well, thank you.
I think I'm gonna wrap it right there.
That's great.
Let's
on fanny packs.
We're gonna wrap it on fanny packs.
We dropped it like a minute ago when we were trying to drop knowledge. It's like
pricing.
on fanny packs.
That's a great place to end. And I do want to return 1 second to your Creative Live weekend, your workshop. Is that what we're calling it? Course. Sorry, I'm new here. I started the thing, but I'm new here. Myself and my partner Craig are going to do our best to bring your course live and free to the world. Starts tomorrow at when? 11 a.m. Seattle time, which is 2 on the East Coast, and the rest of you can do the math. I apologize, I can't go that fast in my little beanie brain. And at 11, we're going to kind of kick this thing off.
Yes.
So what's just, in a nutshell, in one sentence, what's Wednesday about? That's tomorrow.
Fabulousness.
Whoa.
Yeah.
And Thursday is going to be about awesomeness, and
Friday is going to be about bombness. That's right.
No, what's
it's going to be more. Wednesday is going to be a little bit more like branding and just like the nuts and bolts of what I do.
Got it.
And so it might be rudimentary for people who've been shooting for a few years, but it's going to be a refresher for a few and new.
I get it. Yeah, those people who have been shooting for a few years probably have a thing or two to pick up from your discussion.
Right, because I'm so new, I do things differently.
But there's something that's great about you being new, is that you're not bound by the rules. That's why I love talking to photographers and filmmakers who haven't been to film school or to art school.
Right.
Because they are not bound by a lot of the same trappings that are built by those institutions.
Absolutely.
So
tomorrow's
a worthwhile.
Come learn how to not do it right. Thursday, it's going to be shooting technique. How I've learned to shoot.
Okay.
Using natural light, that's kind of just what I do and how I have built my brand around natural light and manipulating natural light. And then we'll be able to work with Laura and Billy. They're going to come in and act as models.
Cool.
And we'll be doing live shooting.
In the space, right?
In the space.
Cool. In
the space. And then Friday will be the wedding.
Yep.
So that's going to be all day and wow, it's going to be hot mess.
You're going to be coming in and talking privately to a camera, and then you'll be going back out and shooting.
Yeah.
The technical aspect of it that the Creative Live team is putting together is pretty cool. There'll be several cameras, and you'll have a little booth that you can come chime in and talk to the world.
Yeah, it's like Big Brother. Yeah. I mean, there's going to be a lot of stuff going on.
And then Saturday?
Saturday, we're going to do a recap. So in the first part of the day, they're going to have like a panel for all the vendors who came in. They're going to discuss the good, the bad, the ugly on the wedding day. There's going to be a mix of things given the light of it. And then I will come back from 3 to 5-ish, and I will be showing the images that I captured that day.
Oh wow, you're going to show them online right away.
Yeah, they're not going to be retouched. It's just going to show you the gallery of what my clients will be getting, what I like to choose, how I like to choose, and then I'll go through and talk about why or how I chose certain pictures to end up as my favorites, or things that I'll blog or use for a slideshow or use for marketing. And then Sunday, it's going to be like an all free-for-all question and answers, and there's going to be a lot of pushover from the day before. And then I told Craig I wanted to have a little mixer, like a party, like happy hour at Creative Live. That was my big idea.
That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And if it's too small, I don't know how many people you want to have. We could probably have it here.
I'm sure. And then look at this. You have champagne already. We're good.
We do. And you haven't drank yours, and I've drank
happy hour indeed. Happy hour indeed.
Is it actually? I think you have to pour some in mine for us to cheers.
Oh, that's great. I wash pack. I hope you don't mind. I'm just
cheers.
kidding. I'm just kidding.
To register and keep up the email communication with Creative Live, you can go to creativelive.com/courses/Jasmine_Star, S-T-A-R. You can register there and tune in. And I'm super grateful for you taking the time. I know you just got off a plane. You came straight here via taxi. Thank you very much for being on this little show.
This is like a huge honor. I don't think that you get it. Thank you.
No, I don't think you get it. I learned a lot today. I know nothing about wedding photography. I mean, I know the technical stuff, but I know nothing more. So I learned a lot, and I hope the folks at home did as well. And again, we'll be back next week. I'll give you little updates, all the social media stuff about what we're doing. I haven't figured it out yet. Again, that's flying by the seat of our pants, trying to figure out what we're doing. But thank you so much.
Thank you.
Take it away. See you next week. And chop.
Woo! Yeah.
Yay, that's a wrap.
Yay.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
It's kind of awkward saying you're a star because like you're a superstar because it's actually in your name. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I appreciate this. This is like the coolest thing.
I'm gonna unmic myself.
Travail, qui dit taf, tu dis les thunes, qui dit argent dit dépense, qui dit crédit dit créance, qui dit dette te dit huissier, oui dit assis dans la merde, qui dit amour dit les gosses, dit toujours et dit divorce, qui dit proche te dit deuil, car les problèmes ne viennent pas seuls, qui dit crise te dit monde, dit famine dit tiers-monde, qui dit fatigue dit réveil, encore sourd de la veille, alors on sort pour oublier tous les problèmes. Alors on danse, 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 alors on danse. Et là tu dis que c'est fini, car pire que ça, ce serait la mort. Quand tu crois enfin que tu t'en sors, quand y en a plus, ben y en a encore. Ecstasy, tous les problèmes, ou bien la musique. Ça te prend les tripes, ça te prend la tête, et puis tu pries pour que ça s'arrête. Mais c'est ton corps, c'est pas le ciel, alors tu bouges plus les oreilles. Et là tu cries encore plus fort, et ça persiste. Alors on chante la 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 la. La 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 la. Alors on chante la 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 la. La 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 la. Alors on chante. Alors on chante. Et puis seulement quand c'est fini, alors on danse. Alors on danse, 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 alors on danse. Et ben y'en a encore. Il y en a encore. Et ben il y en a encore. Et ben il y en a encore.